You know that feeling, right? When you're just staring at a spreadsheet, drowning in a sea of numbers, completely overwhelmed. Well, what if I told you there's a way to turn all that chaos into like crystal clear understanding? That's exactly what we're going to break down today, the absolute fundamentals of data visualization. So here's what we've got on tap. First, we're going to talk about why just looking at numbers isn't enough. Then we'll get into the real power of visualization. After that, it's all about choosing the right chart, telling stories with your data, avoiding some, let's say, classic mistakes, and finally, turning all this info into real decisions. All right, let's jump right in at the beginning. Why do we even need to do this? Well, the simple truth is, our brains, they just aren't built to handle huge piles of raw, abstract data. It's not how we're wired. I mean, just look at this. Does any of this mean anything to you? Probably not, right? It's just a jumble of figures. It's confusing, it's overwhelming, and trying to find a pattern in there, forget about it. This right here, this is the problem with raw data. But what if we could make all that mess instantly understandable? That's where the magic really happens. That's data visualization. Let's see how we can turn that data into actual insight. Okay, so let's get into the solution. We're talking about taking that chaotic mess of numbers we just saw and turning it into something that's actually clear, concise, and, insightful. So what are we really talking about? Well, the official definition is basically the process of using visual stuff, graphs, charts, maps, to show what the data means. But the goal is huge. It's about making information not just something you see, but something you actually get, something that works. And this quote right here, it absolutely nails it. Think about it. One good graphic can do the job of pages and pages of boring reports. It's all about being efficient and making a real impact fast. And seriously, the benefits here are massive. We're talking about making complicated stuff simple, spotting trends you would have totally missed otherwise, and helping people make decisions way, way faster. It's a total game changer for getting your point across. So the big question is, how do we pick the right tool for the job? Okay, this is where we get into your visual toolkit. Because look, to do this right, you've got to match the right chart to the right kind of data. It's that simple. Let's run through the essentials. First up, the bar chart. This is your workhorse, your go-to. It is hands down the best way to compare different things side by side. You want to know which region sold the most? Bam! A bar chart tells you in like half a second. Next up in our toolkit, the line chart. And here's the rule of thumb. If you see the word time, we're talking days, months, years, your brain should immediately go to line chart. It's perfect for seeing how things change over a period. Like, are your sales going up or are they taking a nosedive? The classic pie chart. Its whole job is to show you parts of a whole, proportions. The best example is market share, right? Each slice is a piece of the pie. But here's a pro tip, and it's a big one. Pie charts work best when you have just a few slices. Once you get past 5 or 6, things get messy and really hard to read. Okay, but what if you want to see if two totally different things are related? That's where the scatter plot comes in. It's all about finding the relationship, the connection between two different variables. For example, you could plot how much you spend on ads versus how much you sell. That'll tell you if your marketing is actually paying off. And of course, the toolkit goes way deeper than this. There are other awesome visuals like heat maps that use color to show you where the hotspots are, and map-based visuals, which are, absolutely essential anytime you're dealing with location data. All right, so you've picked the perfect chart. Awesome, that's step 1. But the real magic, the thing that takes this to the next level, that happens when you stop just showing the data and you start explaining it. You start telling a story. And this is such a big idea. A really great visualization doesn't just throw facts at people. It guides them. It leads them to an important conclusion. You're not just presenting numbers anymore. You're a storyteller. So how do you actually do that? How do you build one of these data stories? Well, here's the super simple but really powerful recipe. First, state the problem. Our sales are going down. Next, show the data that proves it. Maybe a line chart with that downward trend. Then, the analysis. Yeah, we can see a clear drop in the last 3 months. Then comes the insight, the aha moment. You know what? We haven't run a marketing campaign. And finally, the suggestion. So let's launch a new one. See that flow? It's so persuasive, especially for leadership. Now, this next bit is super important because with all this power to make things clear, there's also the power to confuse or even to mislead people, even if you don't mean to. So let's talk about the common traps and how to keep your visuals honest. Okay, these are the classic mistakes you see everywhere. Messing with the scale to make a tiny dip look like a total disaster. Adding all those cheesy 3D effects that actually just make it harder to read, or just using way too many colors. All this stuff does is confuse people and break their trust in what you're showing them. So if you remember one thing, remember this golden rule. The goal is to show data correctly and clearly, not just to make it look pretty. Yeah, a beautiful chart is nice, but an honest, clear chart, that's everything. Okay, let's bring this all together for the final piece. Because at the end of the day, what's the whole point of all this? Especially in business. It's all about helping people make smarter, faster decisions. Period. Think about it. When you're showing this to a manager or an executive, their time is super limited. They need to get it in a glance. So your visual has to be simple. The main point needs to jump right off the page, and most important of all, it has to be actionable. It needs to clearly point towards a decision. And that's really the perfect way to picture it. Data visualization, it's the bridge. It connects the messy, complicated world of raw data on one side with the world of clear, confident, smart decisions on the other. It gets you from chaos to clarity. So, I'll leave you with this one question. The next time you find yourself staring at a spreadsheet, don't just see a wall of numbers. Instead, ask yourself, what story is this data just waiting to tell?